Hey there, friend. Enjoying this podcast production? I bet your sweet buttery face you are. I bet you're also thinking, how can I support this show and look awesome doing it? Aside from telling your best pal and all their kin, you can head over to Indoob.com, and 2 clicks later, after hitting the store tab, you'll find yourself with several fun and fancy swag brought to you by the fine folks at the Indoob Network and TeePublic. If you're a fan of Indoob, Food Fight, or anything under the Indoobian sun, you can find it plastered on mugs, hoodies, pillows, cases, bags, and of course, t-shirts. Hurry on over now, and you may catch a sale with all tees 30% off. Seriously, they have sales like every other week. So head on over to Indoob.com or teepublic.com. That's TEEPUBLIC.com and type Indoob in the search bar and continue to pod with the best.
FX presents the Indoob podcast with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indoobians. I'm T. Sterling Watson.
And I'm Kortney.
This is the Indoob podcast. Thank you for stopping by and pressing play. This is week number something almost to the end of December, and this is episode 89. 1 away from 90, 11 away from 100. We're almost there.
We're almost there.
Yeah, we have a special episode for you. This is the all Ask Indoob, except for this little part here, which we're going to put on the Patreon because we're going to talk about some other stuff first. So if you don't have the Patreon, you're going to miss out on what we're about to talk about, which is pretty awesome.
The Indoob podcast.
Hey, dear listeners, just a gentle reminder that you can support the Indoob Network by subscribing to the Indoob Patreon at patreon.com/Indoob.
But hold up, Sterling. I keep hearing about this website. What is Patreon?
So glad you asked. Patreon is a membership platform where subscribers can pay, fund, or donate to creators for content. In other words, if you subscribe for a small monthly fee, you can get bonus podcasts, reviews, videos, and just awesome extra goodies from the Indoob Network.
So all that extra stuff we couldn't fit in this episode they're listening to right now will be on the Patreon?
Exactly, and so much more.
Oh, really? Well, where does my money go?
Well, podcasts cost money. Microphones, conferencing software, and host websites aren't free. So every little bit that a patron chips in helps produce the content they already love and enjoy. And for your contributions, based on how much you give per month, we'll unlock more perks to be enjoyed that are created specifically for patrons.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. So where do I go again?
Patreon.com/Indoob. Browse around. Some posts are free. Most are $1, but you're free to do more and you will get more. And we at the Indoob Network will certainly appreciate the help keeping the studio lights on.
That's for sure. And thank you to the patrons that are already supporting and enjoying all that extra bonus content. Like that one video where you did that one thing you said you wouldn't, couldn't, and shouldn't do.
Oh, I know. And I almost got killed to death trying to do it, but I did it and now it's done.
That was hilarious.
Good times.
Good times.
So let's open the mailbag for this episode of the Indoob podcast. This should be fun.
Letters, oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters, I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy!
Mailman, mail today.
I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people that sent in questions. And I thank you so much. I hope we can get through all of them. If we can't, then by all means, we will save them for the next episode or the future episodes. We'll put it that way. Now we've been trying to get Steph on the podcast or coming back. She's juggling a whole bunch of things and doing some awesome stuff. So she wasn't able to do this episode, but I did ask her, I reached out, like, would you be able to submit a question? And she was like, sure. And
thanks, Steph.
Yeah, thank you. So I feel like I need to give background to this first before I ask you this question. She has been, I'm going to say it, I'm going to put her out on blast for a second. She's been obsessed with the movie How the Grinch Stole Christmas starring Jim Carrey. She's watched it at least 3 times, I think, in like 2 weeks. I love the movie, so I'm waiting for her to just admit that she now loves the movie too, but she's like thoroughly creeped out by it. Today, I don't know if you saw this at all today.
No.
Okay, so today they released a motion poster for the live action Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
A motion poster?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. Oh,
yeah.
I've seen the still of it, the still poster, but I'll have to check that out.
Maybe it was yesterday. It might have been yesterday that they released it. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday, because today they were kind of trying to figure out exactly what Sonic's face looks like. If supposedly supposed to be live action. So then that got creepy and weird. So I don't necessarily recommend checking that out. But so Steph's question to us is, could Jim Carrey play a live action Sonic?
Jim Carrey.
Since
I can see it. I can see it.
I do struggle.
See it. You can't see it?
I mean, I'm trying to, but I think since I personally have the Grinch kind of, snuggled in my head so much, it is a bit of a leap. And then I was like, well, why Jim Carrey? Why are you still stuck on this? But then I went and researched, and Jim Carrey is actually playing Dr. Robotnik in this movie.
Really? In Sonic?
Yes.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I can see that more than I can see Sonic. And the person who's playing Sonic is Ben Schwartzman, or I think that's how you say his name. Yeah, he's for those who don't know him, that's John Rufio. Is it Rufio in Parks and Rec?
John Ralphio.
John Ralphio. There you go. It's that guy.
Yeah.
He's playing Sonic.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I want to see that. See what he looks like, rather.
Right. I'm not sure if I want to see this. I probably will, because Sonic the Hedgehog was like my favorite character, my favorite video game, my favorite cartoon character when I was growing up. So I don't know. This might be the movie that ruins my childhood.
Maybe.
There's been a lot of ruined childhoods recently. So I don't know. And I don't know who else could play Sonic other than Jaleel White. Because for me,
why Jaleel White?
That was Sonic's voice, like his first cartoon voice.
That's right. Oh my goodness, you are absolutely right. I knew that, but I've forgotten it. It's one of those bits of trivia that but you just kind of bury in the background because you don't need to access it that often.
Right.
So yeah, that's right. I knew that, but yeah, I don't know if that doesn't mean that he looks like him though, or could play him.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it's weird because Sonic's eyes are really just like one eyeball kind of thing. It's just got that weird thing in the middle. So, and I say that because maybe sometimes his
a uni-eye.
But a uni-eye. It's a little bugged out.
Uh-huh.
Jaleel's eyes are kind of bugged out a little bit. So I don't know. I'm not saying that he looks like Sonic, but he definitely he is my Sonic. Like that's my Sonic's voice.
Right. Yeah, that I agree with.
Yeah.
I do agree.
All these others, they're imposters. I don't know
imposters.
Who you are. It's like when they changed the honeybee's voice, and they changed. I've lived long enough to hear at least 3 different honeybee voices from Honey Nut Cheerios.
And they
So
try to make them sound the same, but it's just not the same, and you can tell
it's
the
not,
difference.
you can. Because Billy West was doing it for a while, and now they changed it again. So I don't know who this new guy is, but I'm like, who do you think you are?
I don't know, some loser. Who knows?
So yeah, could Jim Carrey play a live action Sonic? He can do anything he wants. I think I have to. Yeah, I really have to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really struggling. I don't know why. I mean, he has played a number of really interesting characters, and I think I just can't wrap my head around a humanoid looking Sonic.
Well, listen, I am so behind the times. I did not realize that they were making a live action Sonic until like a couple days ago. So hopefully this is really new news, but I doubt it. So I'm really just still trying to wrap my head around it because I don't see a live action Sonic in it either. Just I don't see a live action Sonic, the movie, not necessarily a specific person playing him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So you're like
Color me.
3 days old or whatever when you learn there's a live action
Yeah, I'm
Sonic
like 3
movie.
days old. Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot. I heard about it earlier this year, and I forgot. And we all know how long this year was. So
It's been 5 years at
yes.
least this
So
year.
like
So
year 3 is when I learned about it, and then abruptly forgot about it like the next day, and then
Mhm.
2 years later, here we are with this news. Oh goodness. I'm still terrified. So yeah, I don't know. I have to see it. That is my answer to you, Steph. I have to see it, but Jim Carrey can do whatever the stank he wants to do, although he's playing Dr. Robotnik. I'm terrified. I'm gonna watch The Grinch after this. I'll tell you that much.
Go
Our
for
next,
it.
of course, 'tis the season. Our next question. Matter of fact, since I said 'tis the season, I will pick a Christmas question from Janae, or that's at Janae all day.
Yeah.
She actually sent us the most amount of questions,
Mhm.
and I think we probably should just go through all of hers now.
Okay.
I was going to go chronologically through everybody that sent me their questions at the time they sent them, but let's just do this. So
Okay.
her first question is, what's the first Christmas you remember?
That's a good question.
It is.
The first question, first Christmas I remember, um, we were at the first house that me and my family and brother, mother, father for a while lived in, and it was a little tiny thing in the hood, and but like of course we didn't know anything, and that was our house. But my first memory was so at the time it was actually my mom and my brother and me. And my parents had already gotten divorced at that point. And so my dad would always, when we were little, my dad would always come over Christmas morning to spend, Christmas morning, Christmas Day with us. Um, and so we would always have to wait for him to get there. Now he was a good, he knew that we were children and we got up at the crack of dawn to open up all of our presents, right? So we for the most part we had to wait for him. But this one particular Christmas, I don't know what it was about this Christmas, but like we got up super early. He would normally get there like 5 or 6 in the morning, right? Which is insane. But I think this particular Christmas we just couldn't wait. It was maybe around that time and he just hadn't gotten there or something. But me and my brother, I remember us getting up and like my mom like literally holding out her arms and saying, wait, you gotta wait. Your dad's not here. It's so early. Go back to bed. And we're like, no, it's Christmas. But mom, it's Christmas. And so my mom would do the thing that most parents do, Christmas Eve. She would like put out extra presents that weren't there before.
Right.
Not so much because of the whole Santa myth, but just, it's just a magical thing. Like, oh, there's more presents, And so I remember us, me and my brother, and we were all just all three of us were just laughing because it was just so crazy. But me and my brother were like trying to climb under my mom, over her, and get around her, and we just couldn't. And she was like, "Well, at least go brush your teeth. At least do that." And I don't remember if we did or not, but I just remember finally we got to the presents. I don't remember if my dad was there. But I do remember seeing she had put a couple of the unwrapped, the bigger gifts that were unwrapped under the tree, and like she'll put a bow or something around them, but they weren't wrapped, so you could see them. And I remember I immediately saw a TV, and that was mine, and I went over to it, and it was like this little boxy square thing. And then my brother, I forget what he went over to, but I don't know. That's just one of the most, I guess, eventful, memorable ones. Yeah, but I think that was just a good Christmas. It was fun.
Yeah, I mean it's funny how similar I guess our Christmases were, and we've never you and I had never talked about this before, but like that was very similar where my parents also left the gifts as if not that we believed in Santa, but say that like Santa was, stopped by and there are these things that weren't there before and they're usually not wrapped, but and we had our spots like now my sister it's technically my half sister, so for a while she actually lived in New Jersey, but she lived with us for a good portion of my childhood. So she had her spot, I had my spot, but I don't remember the first one, but I remember scatterings because I would leave cookies and milk out, full well knowing it's like, well, this is for I think Mommy Claus and Santa Dad or whatever weird kid thing I came up with. But then I would come down and find that like the cookies weren't eaten, and I'm like, what's going on? The waste. But there are certain gifts that I remember getting, such as like a whole McDonald's set where you could like make your own fries using bread and cinnamon, and just immediately just making everything. And I think I had a sand bottle art kit thing, and I used up all the sand like within a half an hour. So but yeah, I can't remember exactly which one, but there was one year where I got up at like 3:00 in the morning because I just could not sleep anymore. I am so ready to just tear into the presents. And I don't think that was the first one I remember, but it was a pretty early one. And then I probably crashed pretty much just as the sun was really rising. And then my parents coming back down, like, why did you get up so early? I'm like, I don't know. The gifts they were calling me. So
they were calling you, man.
They were. So that's as early as I can remember. Didn't put any years on those in my memory banks.
Nah.
Yeah.
You were a wee child. That's all that.
Pretty much. Yes. Yeah. That pretty much is it. What's your favorite Christmas present that you received?
I
guess this is a hard one. It is. Because I don't think I've come up with an answer because there's been a lot of things. And there is a question that's similar to this, and I think I have a better answer for those, but we'll get to that a little bit later. I can't think of one that I received that was a favorite.
I mean, I've had a lot of really good ones, and I'm trying to favorite. Because I know as soon as I think of one, I'm gonna forget like 10. I don't know. I've been blessed. I've had some really good gifts.
Yes. Same here.
None are really sticking out to me as above the others. Like I'm remembering, and it's weird for me because my birthday is in December. It's December the 10th, and so that's right at 2 weeks before Christmas. It's like 2 weeks in a day before Christmas, and so a lot of my birthday presents are actually Christmas gifts and vice versa. Because like my mom is really good. Like my parents have always been good about separating the two holidays. But I, in my memory, sometimes can't differentiate what I've gotten, and
because of
and
putting together a
when,
little
yeah,
bit.
they're so close. So yeah, oh, I would have to think about that one a little longer.
As would I, because I'm even trying to think of like big
Your birthday's pretty
items.
close too, though.
They are.
About a month.
I got a
About a month
month
away.
separated. Yeah, and I think sometimes the difference is, for me, because I remember one year it being Super Bowl Sunday. My birthday landed on
Hmm.
Super Bowl Sunday, so I kind of remember
Yeah, that's just
the.
not fair.
It wasn't, because the party was kind of combined, and I wouldn't really have a
Uh-huh.
party. It was just like, hey, your birthday happens to be this day, so we're just gonna say you're part of the festivities, and here's some food. So yeah, that was long enough that I could remember. I was still a single digit. I know that much. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm thinking of still, because I can think of gifts that I remember I got for Christmas. Like, I'm staring at a Blu-ray player that my parents got me like a couple years ago, and that definitely gets a lot of mileage out. So it's something I definitely cherish. Um, I am ashamed to admit that my beloved best friend got me a guitar, and it's been sitting in its case for like a few months,
Mm.
unplayed.
That's all
So
I got to say about that. So
I know, and it's I feel like it's because of time, but I
no.
really want to jump
Mm-mm.
back into it because it's something I've always wanted to do and learn. So
Mm-hmm.
it is a gift that I do cherish, and I'm like, I've always wanted
Mm-hmm.
one for years to have one.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, um my sister has been a blessing of technology stuff, and I think we have a rivalry now going on where we try to outdo each other, like get not necessarily something more expensive, but just you know trying
Like
to make
better
them
gifts.
kind of like
Yeah.
something that they really want, or something that they weren't expecting. But I think the
Mm-hmm.
last one, my sister, she just kind of kept saying like, "Yeah, I really want a toaster oven. I really would like a toaster oven. Do you think I upgrade it?" So after I got her one, then she just kind of kept telling me all the things that she keeps making in her toaster oven. And I'm like, wow. So yeah. Matter of fact, let me just jump to that question, which did she ask it? Yes, it was. It comes from Aunt Cindy, who asks,
Hey, Cindy.
"What was the best gift you gave?"
Oh goodness. Oh man. Best gift I gave. Well, one of the more memorable gifts I gave, while I think about, I guess, my real answer, my brother, he was deployed over in Iraq, and so he specifically requested a blanket. Like he wanted a customized blanket because I knit and I crochet, and he wanted a customized blanket for his trip. Well, he wanted it, he requested it, um a certain time, and I think he deployed 2 or 3 months later. Well, if you know anything about knitting or crocheting a blanket, you know that it takes several months. And so I hadn't even gotten started because of he wanted it to be customized, and I hadn't even figured out how in the world I was going to include everything that he asked for
Mm.
by the time he left. So fast forward to the following Christmas. Well, he actually was not home yet for that Christmas. Um, this is okay. So it wasn't a Christmas present. Dang it. Dang. I was hoping I had made it by Christmas, but no, it was after that because he came back like in January. But
Mm.
so I finally finished the blanket and I gave it to him and he loved it. But that doesn't count because it wasn't Christmas.
Oh, well,
Shoot.
there was effort there, and it made me think about going back to one of the gifts I received, but I don't know if it
Mm-hmm.
was for my birthday or if it was for Christmas, because my mother made me a blanket. She crocheted a blanket for
Oh,
me.
really?
It's got my initials on it. It's got a big panda bear on it.
Oh, I don't
Um,
know if I knew she crocheted.
um, I
How did we not talk about that?
I don't know. I'm pretty. Maybe I told you, but hey, she crochets, and
Okay.
she is
Thanks for
something
telling me.
that is something she would like to get back into. I don't know if I told her that you crochet. Hmm.
What?
I'm terrible. I know.
I'm
It's
literally always knitting something
By the way,
or
listeners,
crocheting something.
Courtney and my mother share a birthday, so this is why it's a
Mhm.
shock that I have not. That this is a revelation between all of us right now. So yeah. As for a gift that I recall giving that like really, I think it was the first time I made my dad cry is when I bought
Aw.
a computer for like
Mhm.
him and a church. So
Mhm.
because that meant a lot because the church didn't have one and that was like our first
Yeah.
one. So
Mhm.
that kind of meant that we were doing things. And plus
Mhm.
it was good. Well, I was happy because I was actually able to afford something like that to give to my dad. So that was
That's
like,
awesome. That's a great gift.
yeah. So it felt good to give that. I'm like, all right, now we can do some damage. In
In a
that
good
we're,
way.
helping save the people. Yes. Yes.
Exactly. Right. There's a difference.
Right. Right. We're gonna jump back to Janae's list of questions. I almost read that question again. What 3 things do you want to leave in 2018? I've been
Oh, that's a good one.
I've been
3
struggling with this
things.
because this was a
Okay.
long year as we've established.
Oh man. Let me think on that. Can you
Can we
answer
come back?
first? Yeah,
Okay.
you answer and then I'll be ruminating.
All right. Because I remember seeing this, and I had the advantage of seeing, obviously, of seeing these questions as they came in, so I had time to
Mhm.
think about them. This
Mhm.
one I could not think of like, I even tried to think of like jokey answers, but I'm like I can't even think of anything like that. Because I feel like I want to say something like, yeah, I'm gonna leave the whole like fan con debacle behind, but
Never.
yeah, I mean it's
Never
at this
leaving
point
that behind.
I enjoy the pettiness of the people who love to bring that back up.
Well,
So
and justice needs to be served still. So
still,
I
this
don't
is
know.
true.
Is it
This is
petty or
true.
are we just being justice seekers at this point?
I think it's a little bit of both. A little bit of
I
both.
absolutely believe it's a little bit of both. More so the pettiness, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's an equal measure of both.
yeah. I feel like I'm getting you riled up, so let me calm down a little bit.
I'm sorry, it doesn't take much.
It doesn't, because I mean that's what you are. You seek justice when there is
Yes,
injustice, and
absolutely.
that is your thing. Like
Hmm.
your hair is already flapping in the wind, just
Oh
ready to.
man, fist in the air.
Mm-hmm. Like you'd be flying to wherever this crime is happening.
Uh-huh.
So 3 things to leave behind. Oh, I've got one already, and this was a real one. I'm leaving MoviePass behind in 2018 because of
Yeah,
their shenanigans. The last couple months I was with them. I mean, it was only a couple
yeah.
months I had them, but still, yeah.
So are they still in business?
From what I understand, they are, because I actually saw somebody tweeting about them recently, and there was still some shenanigans going on. So I'm like, oh man, so glad I got my AMC A list pass. So
Mm-hmm.
have no problems with that whatsoever. And I don't have to be, what is it, within 500 feet of the theater I'm trying to attend. I can be wherever I want to be, and days in advance to reserve my
Mm-hmm.
movie seat. No,
Nice. As it should be, because it's 2018.
exactly. Soon to be 2019 and bigger and better things. So that's one thing, Movie Pass. The another thing it would be, and it's really difficult to do this, so I suppose I'm going to leave some fear and apprehension behind in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
because there's still some things I'm just afraid to take risks and try things, or reach out to people that I feel maybe intimidated by, but I want to talk to or interact with.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've kind of done this year, but there's still more things that I'm just like, ooh, I don't know, I don't want to bother them because they're busy or whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm gonna
I
try
get
to
that.
leave that behind. So those 2 things. Has that jogged in your memory so far, or not memory, but
Oh, I've got my 3.
oh, you got your 3. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
What 3 do you have?
So, first thing is unhealthy relationships.
Okay.
I won't engage with people who gaslight me or who are not for me, for my well-being. Just not gonna waste time on them anymore. That's friendships, that's acquaintances, that's coworkers. I'm just not going to do it. I also put fear. I actually put I'm gonna leave unhealthy fear because I think some fear is okay and it keeps you from danger, but the unhealthy fear is the fear that, like you mentioned, keeps you from doing things that are just uncomfortable or you're not used to, or that you're just not sure of. But like if it's something that will advance your progress towards your goal, then it needs to be done and you just have to buckle down and do it. And so I have some pretty lofty goals for next year, and I have got to overcome just the unhealthy fear. Like it's okay to acknowledge it, but it's not okay to let it guide you, or rather let it rule over you and your actions.
Right.
I also put excuses. I will be leaving excuses. I made a whole lot of excuses this year. Some of them legit, some of them just not legit. So I don't want to get in my own way anymore. So I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty good at getting in my own way and retreating when I should be advancing. So yeah, not
Fist up in the air,
happening.
hair blowing in the wind,
Yeah, totally. 2019, here I come.
Right. And I feel like I want to say, well, there are excuses and then there are reasons. I think we've had this
Right. And you have to
discussion
be
before.
gentle with yourself. I've had to be really gentle with myself during certain times of this year that were legit just stressful and hard, and um life happened. So I had to
Right.
really be gentle with myself if I set a goal and didn't accomplish it. But there are other times where if I'm truly honest with myself and I know, okay, Kortney, you should have did better there. You should have. I mean, and still it's okay to be gentle with yourself because we are human. We make goals and we make plans and we fall through on them, and that it's not the end of the world. But I want to do better with setting, and also, we sometimes we set goals and they're just very lofty and they're very hard. They're not realistic.
Right.
So, but the times where I have done a thing and I should have done better at it, I want to do better with sticking with my plan and not getting in my own way with excuses for why I shouldn't do something or why I can't do it right now or whatever. It's just a defense mechanism, and it's a device to keep me comfortable. But that's not what I'm called to do. So
Right.
I have to do better.
I want to give you some credit for helping me when it comes to goal setting. Because something that you often remind me is like we'll set like a goal, but sometimes that goal is like huge, but or even overwhelming. But throughout the years that I've known you, you've always reminded me to just, chop it up. So there are smaller goals. And then before you know it,
Yeah.
you have a finished product once you've,
Yeah.
finished those smaller goals. So,
Right. Well, and I mean, it's one of my favorite quotes to think about like goal setting is you have to eat the elephant one bite at a time. So if you're a member of PETA or you're super vegetarian, then you may not like this. But the point is, elephants are large, beautiful creatures, and
sometimes
or
delicious.
you no, no, I do not endorse that
I mean, have you
statement.
ever had elephant before?
No, I don't
Neither.
want to try it.
Neither have
I
I.
don't know that I want to try elephant.
I'm
But the
sorry.
point
I'm
is,
sorry. I messed up your point. Sorry. Go on.
you did. You totally interrupted. But like, it's all about taking a large task one little bite at a time because that's all you can do. You can only stuff so much in your mouth. You can only that could have gone anyway.
I
Nope.
know what you're waiting for. That's what she said. Okay,
Yeah.
we can move on. Because you know
Moving
what?
on.
Our listeners were saying it, so I had to
We
acknowledge
just
them.
had to. We did have to acknowledge that.
Right.
But the point is, you can't do it all at one time. You're only one person. You may be amazing. I'm sure that you are, but
You listen to
and
this
you
podcast, of course they
specifically, right? They listen to this podcast, so obviously they have something good going for themselves. But we're human. Things happen. Life happens. Circumstances happens. Often, most times, out of our control, and we just have to roll with the punches. But to help ourselves, and to be easier and kinder and gentler with ourselves, we have to make it actually realistic. Sometimes we're tired after working all day, or dealing with the kids all day, or whatever the situation is. Sometimes
Mm.
we're sick. Sometimes we just don't wanna. I mean, but to make something more attainable, especially if we make something so big that it just automatically overwhelms us, why would we want to start it? Especially
Hmm.
if it's something like a passion project, or something that we don't have to do to pay the bills or to feed our families or something. And sometimes even if it is, but typically with me, it's something that is a passion project, and like I can live without doing it.
Right.
Physically, I can live, but like if we make our goals more attainable and more, I don't even desirable. I mean, they should be challenging, but if they're just perform a sport. That's not correct. Play a play a sport at the Olympics, whatever the next Olympics. That's not necessarily attainable if you're not even training for anything right now.
Right.
That's not possible. So
Just keep it
it just
within, your lane. Stay in your lane.
stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, and like look at what you realistically can do every single day to get to the bigger goal.
Hmm. And nothing against those that do want to do the Olympics. You just really have to train for that.
Perform at the Olympics.
Yeah. Perform. Yes. But, you've got to be,
Play sports ball.
yes. Which is
But
a
you have
shirt
to,
that I'm
like,
supposed to be working on. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go on.
I mean, but you have to do the work. But if that's something, and if that is a dream of yours, it's absolutely attainable. But you can't start from 0 and get to 100, and
Or expect to get there in like very short time.
right. That's just not realistic. So
Right.
I
So
mean,
that
and
means
I'm having to really work on that myself too, because even knowing that, sometimes I still do the opposite, and I'm just like, yeah, I can write my book in 15 days and have it edited and polished in 30. That's stupid. No, you can't. So,
Mhm. Same
yeah.
with me, with my sister telling me about like the business that we're starting. Like I can't be self-sufficient within that business within a month. It's going to take some time.
No, yeah, it'll
So
take time.
so I still have to stay at my day job, which
Mm-hmm.
I am thankful and grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
No shade towards the job right now. So so yeah, let's move on to the next question. This is one that I've really wanted to get to, because this has been eating away on our timelines for like the last, I think, maybe 48 hours now at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is brought to you by Janae Alze. She asked this question so we can officially talk about this. And I have an answer, but I'll ask the question first. I'll give you a moment to think about it. Who do you think the king of R&B is?
Oh God. King of R&B.
Since that's been debated for like the last 2, maybe 3 days at this point. People have been naming, and I do believe they are saying who is the living king, because they've named a bunch of people who have left this mortal plane, such as Luther Vandross and Teddy Pendergrass. But I think I do have a definite answer to this question.
Okay, you go first. Oh my gosh. Jeez.
Now, just to let you know, they are trying to point out people. I feel like they may have mentioned Usher's name at some point, because
What? Okay.
I mean,
go ahead.
I don't know. There are other people that were mentioned. Some people like, are you kidding? Because I think they even maybe have thrown Chris Brown's name in there.
What
Like, no.
are you?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. And then it started getting real jokey, because they started like finding people who can't sing at all, and But then I saw one that was really good that I really want to agree with, and that was the guys that sang the Chili's Baby Back theme song. Those would be the kings of R&B. But my real true answer would be Smokey Robinson, who is still with us, who's written like 5,000 songs, and still performing, still just rocking it. He's been around for 50 years. I mean, I think at least 50 years.
How old
50s, 60s?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Wow.
Probably still writing songs in his sleep, so I don't know, 50,000 songs. I'll say 50,000 songs because there's probably some that he hasn't even
released,
right. There's just
or given to anybody.
Just notebooks full of like, I was just messing around with this in his sleep, writing them. So 500,000 songs. Smokey Robinson.
It keeps going up and up.
And he's that prolific, in my opinion. I mean, he's on my shirt, one of the new shirts that you can find at Indoob.com. I mean, if not him, well, definitely it would have to be him, but someone who I feel is in the same caliber would be Babyface, who has written as many songs. Well, maybe not as many because he's not as old as Smokey Robinson is.
Yeah.
But once Babyface gets to Smokey Robinson's age now, then yes, he will have as many songs. So,
well, I was gonna say somebody like Babyface. I'm thinking of not Keith Sweat, Brian McKnight. I think he's good. He
was brought up
different.
though.
Who?
Brian McKnight was brought up.
He was brought out.
Brought up. They posted a clip that's a little too edgy for this podcast, but it was a classic song that he had come up with. So, but they kind of did that, I guess, as a joke. I do know that John Legend came up. As much as I love John Legend, I feel he's not quite there yet, but he's close. Like he's like maybe a Duke of R&B or something. So
sure, he can be a Duke. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he just hasn't. He didn't have. I feel like he has the range, but he is still being.
He's in the royal family.
He's in the family for sure. I don't know. He just doesn't have the. He has the range, but he just doesn't have the longevity or the history that some of these other guys have had.
Right, because he.
So he's in, but he's an EGOT, so that give him.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's a big boost.
Well, that's a boost, but it doesn't have to do with R&B though. So
right, you're right.
Like, so I don't know. Like it helps, and we know that he's talented for sure, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's the king of R&B. He just hasn't been around as some of these other legends, and
we'll come back 20 years and see where he ranks.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Because there's some other ones that have been around. I mean, I thought about Maxwell as well, but I feel he's more soul than R&B, but he's technically R&B as well.
Is he? I guess I think of him as more like neo soul or something too.
That is true, yeah. Because I also thought of like Bilal. Bilal, is that how you say his name?
Say it again.
Bilal, Bilal. I never knew how to say his name.
I always said Bilal, but I could be.
It's too many. I don't know how to say it. Or D'Angelo, that's the other one I was thinking of too.
Oh, how did I not think of him first? D'Angelo's really good.
But he also fits for me in that neo soul category, which is still kind of connected to R&B.
That's true. It's like their cousin, R&B's cousin.
Right. But one of those is like a granddad or something.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that my definitive answer to kind of like debate your mom about it is Smokey Robinson, because he's still with us. He's got 5 million songs. He is he is the king of R&B.
Smokey Robinson is your answer?
Smokey Robinson is my answer.
All right. Willing to down that hill?
Yeah. I will gladly die on this hill for Smokey Robinson.
Okay.
I can't think of anyone else. Oh, the only one close because of age and legendariness is Al Green, because he's also still living.
Yes, of course. Of course.
I think I would personally listen to more Al Green music than Smokey Robinson, but that's just me. So
Yeah, but that's just personal preference, not your choice necessarily
true.
for R&B
Did you have
king.
a king that someone, or are you going in? Are you gonna stand on this hill with me?
I don't know that I'm going to stand on the hill with you, but I think I'm going to, what's it called when you pass? Abstain. I'm going to abstain my vote.
Very well, very well.
Does that count?
I guess. I mean, they're asking us these questions. I'm going to jump ahead, and we're going to go to Berto, or at Dry Bertini.
Mm-hmm.
This one's a fun one. I believe this is one that you have read. He asks us, if you were given the chance to host a how-to show, such as a cooking show, what would you teach the audience? And would it be serious or more comical?
Ooh. So my experience with cooking, like, of course I watched like my mom cook and stuff, but I didn't have the desire to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not one of those ladies who learn to cook for the sake of a man. So I learned to cook because I got into food prepping and health and fitness and you know, wanting to save money. So
Mm-hmm.
I would probably do a show. I don't know what I would focus on. Maybe everyday meals, or like everyday food prepping for the everyday person.
Mm-hmm.
So, because there's a lot of stigma against food prepping, and a lot of people don't understand how easy it is. It takes a little bit of work, up front, but you don't have to worry about what you eat during the week, and especially if you are focusing on eating healthy, it really makes a difference. And so I would probably focus it on something like that, or like how to bury it. A lot of people don't do leftovers. I'm someone who's okay with leftovers, but
Me too.
a lot of people don't do that, and they can't eat the same thing at least, over 2 to 3 days. And so I would want to find ways to help them still be able to meet their nutrition and health food goals, while still being able to eat really good food and have variety and stuff like that. Whether it was serious or comical, I would like to think that it would be a mix of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I'm a pretty charming person and I can be funny sometimes. But if I say that it's a comedy, then I would probably it would be so cheesy that nobody would watch it. So I would try to be entertaining, but it wouldn't be super serious, because I can never really do super serious cooking shows. It's never been my style.
Well,
So,
you
yeah.
can do series, because you can if it was some other type of show that you were doing, such as I want to say something like it was something financial, because there were
Yeah,
things
well,
that you were
even
doing
then,
with.
yeah, but even then, I would want it to be
Well, still
like
entertaining.
have an entertainment value, because you still have to hook your audience. But
This is true.
and finances are also kind of a stigmatized. They can be a stigmatized, or like finances. The topic of finances can be a stigmatized topic. So I would want it to be approachable. Approachable is more how I would describe my non-existent cooking show, is approachable rather than comical. I don't know.
And I too, and I know he put cooking as an example. Wow, that's I just realized I had a typo in my own notes that I wrote down. So I wrote down cookie. But I too kind of thought of a cooking show, and of course it would be comical, and I envisioned doing like a cooking-esque type show for like within the Indoob network, and probably just throwing on some crazy voice to add the comical effect, but I'm still telling you how to do a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of branched out and thought of just other things because I would love to do a travelogue type show and just go different places. And
That'd be cool.
yeah, I was randomly, as one does when you get on Wikipedia and you just kind of just end up searching for one thing and you're off on something else. And I found out that there's all these cheeses all over the world. So I'm like, that would be a show I think I would watch, let alone, host as I go to each country and find like their cheese and, taste that, see what it's like and what they eat it with and all of those kinds of things. I might start nationally first because I'm pretty sure each state probably has their own like specialty cheese. Maybe, I don't know. Definitely Vermont because I make sure I get their cheese when they're here for the Big E. There is that, and then there's just also the general how-to things because I think I almost did a video on how to do one really certain specific task. I think it involves Spotify, and I'm like, well, wouldn't be able to do a whole series on that, but at least just random things like, oh, this is how you do this and this is how you do this. But that's actually literally a whole website on how to do things. But at least it'd be my spin because it'd be me introducing you to this topic and how to do it. I was going somewhere with that, and all of a sudden it just went blank. One of the examples would be, no, that's not even a how-to. No, I made it a how-to. I'm having an argument with myself. I'm sorry. To going to a midnight premiere, which really doesn't happen as much anymore because when they do these early premieres, it's fortunately so much earlier in the evening, and I don't have to wait till midnight anymore.
Yes.
But
right.
There is a whole preparation involved in going to these events because the people that go to these early showings, they're normally big time fans, and there's a different vibe than just going to a regular old movie. So I would have a whole process that I would explain. Like first, of course, get your ticket if you don't have it already. Do get your snacks. This is how you wait. This is how you pass the time. And if there's trivia, then you do the trivia, or there's a whole process. And I actually did write a pitch. I was in a writing class and we had to practice writing pitches and I was going to write an article about this, and that was the whole pitch for that, how to attend a midnight screening of something. So
nice.
But yeah, I would have a whole series of different how-tos, and now that I have discovered this kind of how-to gardening, not that I want to garden, but it's just another avenue of like, oh wow, you really can do a show about anything. So so yes, I think that would be mine. I would definitely probably lean more towards cooking, which that is something that will be coming to the Indoob network actually with the air fryer. How to air fry is something that's coming. And I mean, I like to think myself as comical, or at least animated. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. That we'll be doing. Yes. I should try one being super serious. Like, now you put the food in the air fryer. You turn it on. It's cooked. And that's it.
No,
not working.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
I wouldn't smile at all. Like, it would just be like, now the food is in the air fryer. You turn it on. What more do you need? Yeah. So, okay, comical. I'll keep it comical or light. Smiling, happy.
Sure. Yes.
We'll move on to the next question. Our next question comes from, hopefully I'm pronouncing her name right, Tasia, or at Naptural _May. This is our friend that we met in Baltimore. She tagged along with us when we were wandering the streets of Baltimore. She asks us, what is your biggest inspiration?
Another hard question.
It is. Even though I've seen this one, I'm like, I'll come around to it. I'll find an answer, and here it is. And I still don't quite have, like, I have things that do inspire me, but like,
right, that's a hard one because there's a lot of things that inspire me. I mean, because looking at pictures and listening to music and, you know, a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of things really inspire me. Let's see.
and the
Well, go
funny
ahead.
slash sad thing is there were like a number of people that inspired me throughout the years. And then what's sad is that as we got older or just things started to be revealed, you find out that they're actually very trash people. Um,
Yeah.
because in a heartbeat, I would be willing to say, and I'll say this maybe 3 years ago, perhaps, I would say that Bill Cosby was like one of my biggest inspirations. But
Yeah.
yeah, now he is currently dead to me. I've written an obituary for him a couple years ago. So
Mm-hmm.
he's not the inspiration, but there are still elements from his career that I still kind of hold on to. So that is a lesson that I guess I have learned, or things that I would like to emulate. And just when it comes to storytelling, um, then there's just other things, like you said, there's like pictures or artwork or other things that just um, Dave Barry is a writer that was a big inspiration for a while, and just letting me know that it's okay to just embrace the nonsense. um, and another one, I guess, a visual more person is Leslie Nielsen, who is just a nonsense actor. Although he is a actually prolific actor, he does some serious work, but he's most famous for like Naked Gun and Airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just love that style of humor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Humor is one of my biggest inspirations, I suppose.
Yeah. Um. So right now, it's all about magic, and so not necessarily like the fantasy type magic or um like witchcraft, but just magic, everyday magic. The things that make me come alive and make me feel like myself and that grab my attention, that's everyday magic. Um some of those things may include like nature, or autumn time and winter time is always really magical to me, and friendship and love and family closeness, things like that inspires me. It's hard to kind of narrow it down because I'm into a lot of things, and so but I guess the overall theme is just the magic. Comes back to the magic, and that's how I best describe it. Is just um, the things that really just make me come alive
Hmm.
when I'm
Hmm.
really being true to myself. If I'm really, um, it didn't have to be grand or just super big, but just things that um, they fuel me, they revitalize me, they don't necessarily drain me.
Hmm.
Um, I'm an introvert and I'm INFJ Sagittarius, so like a lot of sensory heavy things really drain me. So um, I'm very aware of the things that give me life rather than tire me out. So
Hmm.
things like, I mean, that's magic to me, is when I can do something and I feel better after doing it.
Hmm.
It's just an everyday magic. So um I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it's making me rethink my own answer, because it feels like it's more than just humor, and it's a very difficult question to answer, actually.
It's a broad question. I mean, there's a lot of things that can inspire you. It just depends on,
Like
that's
what you're
just a
doing at the
broad,
time,
yeah,
sometimes.
that's a broad question.
Yeah, it is, because I mean, there's still, I'm just thinking like, yeah, there's a lot of things, because there's people that inspire me, like people that are actually
Well,
good, not
sure.
trash.
Yeah.
And
Right.
there's music is a huge inspiration to me,
Music, yep.
because that sometimes will inspire me to do a thing, but sometimes that inspires me to write something, or
Mm-hmm.
just or to go somewhere. and even going somewhere that could physically mean going somewhere, or going somewhere like in my
Yeah,
memory.
travel. Yeah, travel's always a good inspiration for me too. I always feel, more particularly with my writing, I feel inspired to write more.
Hmm.
And even though I'm a photographer also, I'm more inspired to like, I'm not like someone who always pulls out my phone to take a picture. I will, of course, but like I find the bigger inspiration is when I can, because you can't take a picture of every single moment and every feeling.
Right.
And so I tend to like try to write as much down as I can while I'm experiencing or shortly thereafter, so I can remember it. So yeah, different things inspire different things.
Hmm. So thank you for that question. That was
That's a good question.
a
I'm gonna
good
be thinking
one.
about that for the rest of
It,
my life now. Because I'm gonna be saying, "Oh, that was a stupid answer." Yeah.
this is what inspires me. Well, maybe we'll make that a thing. We'll come back to it in, like, a couple of weeks or something. See if it
Mm-hmm.
changes. Or if we add to it. Um, since we're already still adding things to it. But we're going to move on to another question, and we are going to go with Nick at Porter Pizzazz. Nick has asked us. This one's going. I'll try to go first because I know it might take you a little while. Okay.
Okay.
You are tasked with creating a 4-man Suicide Squad team to infiltrate a rogue government, but only with Disney characters. Who are you
Oh
choosing
man,
and why? See, this is why I told you I'll go first, so I'll give you some
because I
time.
had my answers like starting to until you said Disney characters.
See, and that's what got me too. And I only have two, and I've had this question.
And how many
And
do we need? Four, you said,
4, yes.
including myself.
Are you a Disney character?
I mean, I could be.
Well, oh man, that's actually is a good question. I think Nick means 4 additional people besides you.
Okay. Dang it.
Yeah. And I'm,
I
like I said,
tried.
I'm still struggling. Um Although I'm on a theme here, so maybe I can stick to that theme. No, it's not working. Where are my movies? Let me think. Oh, okay. Okay, so the first 2 I have so far. First one is the genie, because he is a
Hmm.
genie. I mean, even
Clearly,
when
yeah.
yeah, even when he was, because I watched the Aladdin series, the TV series, so even when he was free, he still had like near cosmic power. I forgot the whole saying, but he was still pretty powerful. So whatever you needed,
Mm-hmm.
you could still do it. I mean, you can't kill anybody, but that's fine.
That's
Depending
cool.
on
That's all
yeah,
right.
depending on what we need to do,
Right,
And
right, right.
I mean, he's the genie, so I feel like I don't need to go into too much more why the genie is part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
My second character would be Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, because
Okay.
Stitch is an alien. He's adorable. Um, he is feisty. He's a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
He can walk on. I don't know if he can walk on the ceiling. I know he can walk on walls, but he's quick and he's shifty. So he he'd be good in situations like that.
Mm-hmm.
I considered putting Hercules on this list, but then I decided not to because, again, we're infiltrating a rogue government, so I really don't know to what extent I need a big hulky man for. So I don't know. He was originally going to. I was going to start the list with him. Like, no, I don't really want or need anything of his services. Um, yeah. So far I've only got 2 people on my team, so I still need 2 more. So I'm gonna throw it over to you if you have
Hmm.
anybody yet.
Um. So the only one that I have so far is Mufasa.
Okay.
May he rest in peace. Because he is a king, and I just feel like he knows how to get stuff done. He's very regal, but I feel like he has a past, and so if ever he needed to like revert for whatever reason for quote unquote the right job,
Mm-hmm.
he would be your man.
Or your lion, rather.
I said what I said. Thank you. So So
Well, 'cause
yeah.
I'm trying to put it together because we're infiltrating a rogue government. Well, I guess you can use a line to do that, but just to get through the door. But you said what you said. You said what you said.
I
You
said what I said. He didn't say they had to be people.
right?
Stitch is
This
not a people.
this is
He's
true.
an alien or something. So yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, maybe I should look towards the villains too because they could come in
All of
handy.
them would be great. He said Disney characters. He didn't say the protagonist.
This is true, and I mean, imagine if someone had asked us about the villain topic that was happening a while back, like the best,
The best villain
the most,
and why?
ruthless.
Uh huh.
But that's not what was asked of us. And now I'm considering like maybe Jafar would be a good addition to the team.
The only thing about selecting a villain is they could quite easily turn on you.
Well, it is
They
a
may
Suicide
accept.
Squad.
Oh, that's
So,
true.
so if they do turn against you, I guess maybe you being the fifth person, you have the trigger device. Like, oh, if you step out of line, we
Then I
can,
got you.
yeah,
Yeah.
you'll be dead.
Yeah. Well, I would hope so. I would only team up with certain villains if I knew like their kryptonite. So, because you can't trust them. That's the only thing about them. They're great characters. They're great. They have a great story. They bring the necessary tension to a story, but you can't trust them as far as you can throw them because they're only out for themselves. So if I had the kill code, then yeah, I would totally team up with the villains.
Because I'm thinking about Ursula because I mean she's always a great character, great villain, but
She's a schemer. She's a schemer, and
she
she knows what
is.
she wants, and she's the right man for the job.
But she's also most of the time in her natural form is an octopus and really can't help me out of water. Um, I mean, at the end of the movie, yeah, she did turn into a woman, so she was able to walk on land. Blah blah blah.
Yes, but
But
then she turned back, so
right,
didn't
right,
help us that much.
right. Unless the infiltration, the rogue government would be floating in the water somewhere, then yes, like we need your help. Please help us, and then maybe we can give you King Triton's trident and
Yeah.
then you grow big and just rah 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 and then like okay we've infiltrated and thank you for your service.
So I just thought of another one who I would love to have on my Suicide Squad. I want Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh yes.
So he's fabulous, as we all know, and he's very much the schemer. He's about it. So you give him a job, you tell him what's in it for him, and he's down. And he is pretty loyal. I feel like he's not your hero. He's not quite an anti-hero either, but I don't know what to classify him as, but he's not a villain. I don't believe.
Right, I
So
would agree with that.
I would think he's a very good candidate to be on the Suicide Squad and an actual real person. So that helps. He can walk on land.
and he is a captain, so
He is a
if you do need
captain. He
to
knows
do
he knows how to lead.
seafaring, yeah,
Yeah, he's seafaring. He's very versatile.
right. um and I just added the Cheshire Cat because that would be I've always considered him to be my Patronus, if you will, because I have a thing for mischievous characters, people that aren't necessarily
Mm-hmm.
good or bad, like Captain Jack Sparrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he's I just love everything about him. Anytime he's on screen for most incarnations I've seen of him, I'm usually thinking of the Disney cartoon, just him singing and disappearing through his stripes and leaving his smile behind and all the things he
Mm-hmm.
says. I just adore that character. And he's again never really on anybody's side but his own unless he actually feels like helping you like he did in the live action movie, even
Mm-hmm.
though that has a sequel I haven't seen and I'm not sure if I want to, but he can be helpful because he can detach his head and scare people if he needs to, but then again so can the genie.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know he could detach his head though.
Yeah,
That's cool.
he's done it a couple times and just I don't know, it's just things I like about him. but I feel like he could be an asset to infiltration, of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's on the list, and I'm just going to just so it's rounded out, I'll just put down Jafar because yeah, he terrifies me. So yeah,
He's great.
he is. Let me ask one more question, and this one comes from Joe. This is from an email. What is your? This seems like it's probably more suited towards me, but you can answer too. What is your favorite movie award show or festival, and why?
I'd like to abstain from this question because
See,
I don't care.
I figured, but I offered it to you anyway. Well, as most people know, my favorite award show to watch is the Oscars, because it tends to celebrate, I'm putting in quotes, the best of the best,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of the movies there aren't necessarily the best movies, but they're the ones that some people think are the best, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's fun to speculate who's going to win. As for festivals, I don't really follow them as much, but I do take notice of like movies that have win the Palme d'Or whatever, and I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe that might be a really good movie. And the one that gets the most attention, or at least the one that I see the most represented, is Cannes. That tends to
Mm-hmm.
be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Sundance is another one, another big one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that was the first one I ever really took notice of, and then I realized, hey, they have their own channel. So that between those two, those are the ones I noticed the most. But I do know there are a lot of festivals. Seems to be more new ones every year,
Yeah.
but definitely those two. As to why, I think it's just because it's name recognition, and if you win any of those like best of whatever's, and or you screened at Sundance and they really loved it, then that could mean, hey, maybe your movie actually really is good. And then if it
Right.
moves on to Oscar territory, then even better. So
Right.
yeah, that's I think that would be my answer to that.
Yeah. I concur.
Thank you so much. I lied. I will. I think we can fit two more in here, and then we'll save the other ones. Although there are half. I want to say half dozen. Because I thought there was another Christmas one. There are a few more. Because Aunt Cindy asked a couple more questions about. Okay, I like this one. Well, because I have an answer for this one already. Aunt Cindy asks, "What was the best part of 2018?"
Oh, there's so many. 2018 has been a long year.
It really has. It really has. I have two answers because they're the ones that stick out and they highlight for me.
Mm-hmm.
The first one being Baltimore, getting to hang out with you all weekend and meeting all our Twitter friends, getting to see Avengers Affinity War with you, like the perfect person to watch it with. So that whole entire weekend, that was one of my best parts of 2018. And then also doing the live show, the live podcast.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That was
So
good time.
that was a huge accomplishment and highlight for me. I'm pretty sure there's others, but those are the two that stick out for me the most from this disgustingly long year. How about you?
Well, Baltimore was great for the same reasons you mentioned, hanging out with you, meeting other blurs and such, making a terrible situation actually pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I also got to travel a lot more than I anticipated this year and was able to, just the fact that I was able to do it was unexpected as well, because I haven't traveled in a while, and for personal I haven't for personal trips in a while, because I was really focused on finances and getting my house and stuff, so just wasn't able to do it. So the fact that I was able to travel as much as I did this year was quite the unexpected and pleasant surprise. But also purchasing my house was pretty dang cool too.
Yes, indeed.
And It was the culmination of a lot.
All that
A
hard
lot.
work.
Well, just
Years of hard work.
years of hard work, and then I mean, for it to happen, it was just it was um surprisingly easy. Like the moving happened and it was really smooth, and even just signing the paperwork and getting the keys was shockingly easier than I thought. So sometimes I still kind of look around and I'm like, okay, so when is the ball gonna drop on this again? Because it was just so smooth, and it was just, yeah. So I would have to say those were the highlights. The traveling, my house. I've had some other really good wins this year, but those are the biggest ones, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I would say so too. Yeah, so I think that does it, because there is another year related question, but I think I will save it for our next Ask Indoob segment. So I'll save it for 2019. There's actually a couple more questions on here, but I can save those for next time. So we can build up the bag. And I have to remember to actually close the bag, because sometimes I will not close the bag and all our questions they fall away and I lose them. So
Aww.
yeah, so sure to close the bag this time.
Another letter from our listener, Dave.
But I do thank everyone for sending in their questions. Again, you can continue to send questions, and I will. I'm so glad that I actually did check the email, because we did have an email in there. So you can email indoobpod@gmail.com if you have a question. Usually, if it's too long to tweet, you can always email it. And then, of course, if you know either one of us, you can always can you just include this in the Ask Indoob, and then just and we'll do that, or DM us or whatever. Yeah, that's I think that'll do it for this episode. We do just do this. It's the end of the year. The next episode coming is a very, very special episode. It's as long as everything goes according to plan, it's supposed to be me and my family just having a discussion, and you get to just listen and be a fly on the wall, if you will, to our shenanigans. And yeah, we'll be back in Indoob proper in 2019. Anything you'd like to say or do, or before we close out?
Well, just like to thank you for being an awesome friend. Thank you, audience, for being an awesome vocal participative, if that's the right whatever. Thanks for participating, audience. But you, Sterling, for being a great host, being a great friend, and just getting us through another 5 years.
Gosh. Well, I thank you too for helping me keep this ship steady, and letting me know. I was like, hey, can we wrap it up soon? So I do thank you so much. And again, listeners, I thank you so much for listening. I thank you for telling your friends, for tweeting, for telling people, and then talking to me personally. He's like, hey, I liked your podcast. Like, oh, I didn't know you listen. So I get that conversation happens more than I'm surprised. I don't know. I'm just surprised, and I'm just happy people continue to listen. And I thank you so much. Like, really, 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 because this has been a lot of fun to do, and I hope to keep doing it, and hope to do more things next year. Yeah. So where can we find you if we're looking for you, Kortney?
Sure. You can find me on the Twitter at @IamKHinton. Yeah, check me out.
All right, cool. And again, Indoob.com for many, many things. Currently, since it is holiday shopping time, please check out the Indoob store, because everything's on sale. So, get your swag and stuff. In the meantime, please rate, comment, and share the pod on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and Podbean. Thank you so much for supporting, listening, stopping by, and pressing play. Tell someone you value that you value them, and live for the folks you love. I've been your benevolent host, T. Sterling Watson. And remember, if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off.
No.
The Indoob Podcast is recorded in a studio somewhere on planet Earth. The Indoob Podcast is part of the Indoob Network, and if you'd like to get in contact with the Indoob Podcast, please email indoobpod@gmail.com. That is indoobpod@gmail.com. You can find the Indoob Podcast on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, and of course Podbean, or wherever podcasts may be procured. If you'd like to find out more information, please visit Indoob.com, where you can find our store, the blog, and of course our Patreon, if you'd like to support and donate and find more perks and fun things to listen to and watch. For Chief, DJ Joe Daddy, Bilford, this is T. Sterling Watson signing off. Thank you so much for listening. Use your words, Chief. Good boy. This has been another 3SFX production.